Hi there, and welcome to the second video that I'm doing today on the subject of Hitler's foreign policy motivations. Now, from 1933 onwards, Hitler begins to dramatically increase military spending. He gives the German army more money than it knows what to do with. But from 1936 onwards, rearmament began in earnest with the development of the Office of the Four-Year Plan under Hermann Goering, which is a way of shunting Wehrmacht, Hitler's first president of the Reichsbank and second Treasury Minister, Finance Minister, out of the picture. Hitler didn't really understand economics. He had little interest in it and saw it as largely irrelevant. And so, as a result, Hitler didn't understand, and Schacht tried to tell him from 1934 onwards that Hitler's expenditure on arms was causing problems within the German economy. And it's these problems that start to change the timetable for war. Basically, if an economy doesn't expand structurally, doesn't develop new roads, ports, factories, industries, and all this kind of stuff, or doesn't do that at a sufficiently advanced rate, then once you pump money into it, that money will circulate around at a certain pace because people will buy and sell commodities and products. And then the economy will reach its natural capacity. Any more money pumped into that is simply additional money chasing goods of increasing scarcity, and that leads to inflation. And this is what happened in the 1930s. Hitler's arms industry became a kind of a generator of inflation. The German arms industry was hungry for resources after 1936, and it was an industry that was able to access huge amounts of government money. The government spent money that it didn't necessarily have by creating MIFO bills, which were complex IOUs. The money then pours into the German arms industry, and the irony is that German arms workers don't then have anything to spend, or they don't have anything to purchase with their newfound cash, because the German arms industry is sucking up the resources, the wood, the metal, leather, all the new plastics that are made into cockpits and headlights and that kind of thing, rubber for tyres, food stuff for work in munitions workers and soldiers and that kind of thing. So there's not an awful lot in the shops. So either you have lots and lots of workers' money chasing ever scarcer goods, or you have lots and lots of workers' money chasing growing imports. And if you have the first condition, you have inflation. In the second condition, you have imports being brought into Germany because there isn't enough domestic supply of goods and services. Then you wind up in a situation where you have a balance of payments problem. So money starts to flow out of the country. And if you're getting ready for a war, what you need to do is you need to sit on gold reserves, because they're very handy when things get tough, as they inevitably do during wars. So both these conditions are very, very problematic, and Schacht had tried to tell Hitler to slow down rearmament so that you could put more into developing industrial capacity. Hitler sees this as kind of treasonous nonsense, and he dismisses Schacht in the end, forcing him out of office, because Hitler had a simple answer about how to deal with the problem of a fixed German industrial and economic capacity, and that was wars of plunder. In order to get more resources to feed your workers with, you invade somewhere else, seize their land, kill off the native population if it's somewhere like Poland or Russia, and away you go. So, Hitler's timetable for war probably was sped up during the mid-1930s because of the growing economic crisis that was developing as a result of rearmament. And if you look at 1937 and the Hossbach conference, even though there are some big historical question marks over the Hossbach conference and the reliability of the Hossbach memorandum, Still, the meeting was called because the heads of the armies wanted Hitler to resolve a dispute between all of them, the heads of the army, navy, and air force, as to who should get the scarce resources to build tanks, planes, or ships. And that shows you that Germany is under, in the mid 1930s, intense resource pressure. And I'll catch you on the next video.